right, we got to continue here. Everything's got to come off this case because we're at the very minimum going to clean it. All right, bam. So we got those out. All right, so this looks like it can just squeeze and come out. And then this one looks like it is a, there we go. Ah, and the fan is built on. And the speaker, look at that, that's adorable. And then of course our dust filter finally lifts out. This case is old, so we don't want to break anything. And now we can finally get to this last screw. Can we do it at an angle? Yes, we can. And it looks like I forgot to take a case or a screw out of the other side. Oh, it's so much lighter now. No. This is stuck. All right. This tray comes out and there's a little lift thingy here. So let's go ahead and take the tray out because this hard drive is not coming out. And while we're up here, let's go ahead and take these out. All right, this should lift right off. Oh, got it. All right, so we're gonna rotate this guy back around. We're gonna take this top tray out. Neat. Okay, now this should lift right away. Oh man, getting down to the bones. Of course, we still gotta take all these out here, which we will do shortly. Okay, so this should just slide on out of here. Man, I have never seen a case this modular with little rail systems. All right, so I think I can just kind of yeah, that's what I thought. It's glued in place. Well, this was made by some kind of OEM. There we go. Ooh, yeah, that's gonna need some, it's gonna need a little cleaning. And yeah, that's a thing. Of course, we'll spin these up and see what's on them. Got a nice Champ 1.3 gigabyte hard disk. All right, so we are just about down to the metal. The only thing I can't take off is the base. But through the magic of editing, this won't take that long. Before I take this thing outside to clean it, just wanted to show you that it's dirty, but it's not it's far from the worst I've ever seen. In a future video, I have a case that is definitely going to require a mallet. And that one I will definitely paint because it's got quite a bit of rust on it. So I think I'll do more of a restoration on that case. It's a little bit smaller than this one, which is one of the reasons why I decided to go with this case after all. So, and ooh, this is cool. This looks like 97 something 11, maybe 1111. So gives you an idea how old this case is. But yeah, overall it's in really good condition. So yeah, we're gonna take it out back, clean it. Oh, I'm gonna take these out real quick. Oop, oop, oop. Can never have enough of these. Not when you're me. All right, outside we go. All right, before we plug this thing in, let's go ahead and take the cover off and just make sure none of the capacitors or anything like that look like they're bulging or might explode or something like that. By the way, if you've never been in a power supply and you're not sure what to expect in here, my advice to you is to talk with somebody with some experience. Talk with somebody with some experience who's been in here and just, you know, stay under supervision. So, all right, so taking a look in here, it's looking pretty good. This is a really cheap power supply. Probably end up replacing this at some point. But the trick with these old computers though is they are way more 5-volt biased than 12-volt like a modern computer. So you want to make sure that you've got plenty of power on your 5-volt rail. I would say at least 20 amps. Which seems like a lot, and I think it probably is overkill, but you know, this is only a 250 watt power supply. All right, back together. Looking okay. All right, so next thing, we're gonna very carefully push the power button. It's my understanding that these are actually 110 leads. So this has 110 running through it. If you're in America, we use 110 roughly. So I'm just gonna very carefully press this and just see if the fan comes on. You know, you can never be too careful. Well, it's on. It didn't explode. Sweet. All right, so I think this power supply is probably okay. I guess I could, if I wanted to, I could take this and you know, put a voltmeter to all these, but I'm not gonna bother with that. So let's build a 486, huh? Let's begin. So I've got the CPU cooler, some fast page memory, a Trident TGUI 9440 1 megabyte VLB video card, and of course I have the motherboard, and this already has a DX4 100 installed on it. So right now what we're going to do is we're just going to pull the motherboard out, hook it up with a video card, and let's just make sure it posts. So that's going to be step one. This was claimed in the eBay listing to be new old stock open box. So got our manual, and underneath here is the receipt. And then here's the motherboard. These motherboards are actually pretty common, I've learned, and they're supposedly pretty darn good motherboards. So, ooh, yeah, I forgot. We need to go ahead and we're gonna have to replace that real-time clock battery. Or a CMOS battery, excuse me. There we go. Brand new Energizer. Go ahead and plug in our power. Oh, I haven't done this in such a long time. If memory serves, black goes in the middle. There's something I want to do here. Let's get this off of that. I don't know if this is conductive. Wow. That is very obviously a warranty sticker. Why would they do that? I mean, these aren't super high wattage CPUs. I'm not going to keep this CPU on here long term. This system will eventually get a 5x86. So we're just going to do a little bit of thermal compound. I think it will be fine. And yes, this is the way I do it. on modern CPUs anyway. And I'm just gonna kind of go around the sticker, which I really hate doing, but again, I don't think it'll be that big of an issue. Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna go over the sticker. And at some point I'll figure out a way to clean that off. I haven't really done one of these ceramic CPUs in like forever and ever and ever. For all I know, you're not even supposed to use thermal compound, but that seems odd to me. Okay. Oh, neat. That ain't moving. Why can't modern CPUs have a CPU cooler that small, huh? Probably because they're like 100 watts. Getting all these little pins to line up is always fun. Because they're really cheap. None of them line up correctly. Oh, there we go. Sometimes you just gotta go at it at a slightly different angle. Boy, that thing's in there pretty good. A lot better than those flimsy PCI cards, huh? All right, we'll plug in some VGA and carefully isolate this power switch because I don't really want to touch it. I'm getting excited. Now this should be keyed so I can't put them in backwards. They are not keyed. Oh, okay, they are pinned. All right, so 72, 1. 72, 1. So kind of wiggle, get it down in there, gently push forward. Hey, here we go. Okay, we've got RAM. Just making sure that this is looking okay. All right, we have a CPU, we have RAM, we have a video card. This should post. Oh! Yay! That's great. Now you're not gonna hear any beeps or anything like that because there's nothing plugged into this thing. CMOS checksum failure. Keyboard error. Yay. All right, so let's put it in the case, shall we? All right, so that was cool. I just did the last like 15 minutes of work with the mic off. So I'm sure you enjoyed some nice narration or something like that. Here are the two 80mm fans that I managed to track down. This one has LEDs baked into it, no doubt blue. It's probably loud and obnoxious, and I don't even remember where I got this Raid Max fan. This, on the other hand, is an Antec fan. It was very dusty. I just spent a little bit of time cleaning it off. I think either of these would be probably still a better fit than this old bird. Well, my decision's been made for me. Quality Raid Max. Raid Max puts the K in quality. So I was undoing this and it just snapped right off the board, so. Now granted, yes, they have a little track for it to go in and I wasn't really paying close attention, so. Can I repair this fan and use it somewhere else? Yeah. Okay, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and use this Antec fan, and if it's too loud, then I will pull it apart, but I think it'll probably be fine. All right. I want to take this speaker wire and I want to run it behind the latch. Like that. There, that way the PC speaker cable isn't under any stress. And I'm actually thinking I'm gonna pull this out and run it back that way, like that. Then we can tuck this and tuck this. And then the rest of our front panel will go through there. And this is once again stuck. All right. Could be cleaner. Okay, so we got to mount our power switch. Just gonna mount like that. Now this cable is a little twisty because it's out of a different case. But I did verify that from the screw mount to the end of the switch, it was the same length. All right, we got a power switch. I think we need to rotate that out. Mode switch, reset switch, power switch. So I went ahead and hooked up the front panel connectors off camera because it's a pain and it's boring. So let's go ahead and get the video card installed. Yeah, let's just hook up a keyboard and see if we can get into the BIOS and see what this thing is currently configured as, because it does boot up, and I'm presuming that since it does power on and it doesn't explode or anything, that the CPU is configured correctly, but it might be configured for something like 33 megahertz or something like that. So let's put the video card in and get into the BIOS, see what happens. Oh boy, all right. So the video card is not able to go in. The motherboard's just a little too far forward. So I'm gonna loosen the one screw that we have up here. Does this shift a little bit? It does, okay. I'd swear I'd never done this before. So what's happening is the motherboard is flexing and not letting me put the video card in. I mean, I only have 2 VLB cards. I could put this one up if I wanted to, because the hard drive controller is going to go right here. But I was hoping to put the hard drive controller here, just to give a little more room for ISA cards and things like that. I also just realized that I'm going to be limited in how long ISA cards can be. So like here's the Sound Blaster, for example. And it looks like it would just fit. Man, this whole motherboard is like slightly forward. kind of want to put that in there just to space it out. Well, it's in there. I'd like it to be in there a little more, but it's about as in there as it's going to get. So let's put a screw on it. Okay, and the sound card really is just in there as a placeholder at the moment. I think what I'll do is we'll wedge this guy out and see if I can get away with putting it up here. And I can. So now let's tighten this screw back down. Oof. It's fine. I'm not super happy with it, but nothing's like overly flexed or stressed that I can tell. Yeah, it's just off by just a teeny bit. I think it'll be okay. In the meantime, I don't want to have anything else in the computer right now. I just want to go ahead and power this thing on. Got a nice IBM keyboard here. This is a PS2 keyboard with a AT adapter on it, which hopefully works because I've never tested it. Okay, we're all plugged in. I'm hitting delete and nothing's happening. All right, so this keyboard, oh, I'm getting a num lock. Hey, there we go. Ooh, fancy. We got a WinBIOS. Let's do an auto adjust. Oh, I kind of wish I had a mouse installed. Yeah. All right, today is plus and minus, there we go, June 30th. Blow this computer's mind. 2019, how can that be? Can I do that? Nope. 1, 2, 3. 15, 50. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be close. All right, no floppy, no none of that. Advanced, Type-O-Matic stuff. Okay, that's all fine. All right. So this is not telling me what the CPU is configured at, unfortunately. But let's save changes and exit. Maybe it'll tell me on post and I just didn't notice. I love that. Yep. Maybe we get a summary screen. Ah, yeah, CX486 DX4. 100 megahertz CPU clock. Write back cache is on. All right, that's great. Yep, AMI BIOS. Yeah, I would say this is configured correctly. I mean, it's working, so that's good. Obviously, this motherboard has no hard drive controller, so we're gonna add one. And this card's pretty cool because it also has a serial and game port. Now, this case does not have the facility for a game port. So if I want to use the game port on this, I'm going to need to use up a slot, which I don't really want to do. And just about any sound card I add is going to have a game port on it, except the ad lib, of course. Need to figure out how to disable the game port on this thing. Okay. So let's see here. We definitely want all the COM ports. Okay, jumper settings. Primary IDE base address. Most of this stuff default should work just fine. Secondary IDE is on the ISA bus, while the primary is going to be on the VLB. So we want our hard drive to be on the ISA. Excuse me, the VLB. Printer port we're going to disable if we can. Printer port base address disable. All right, so that's JP2. Let's see here. There's JP1, JP2. And this says JP2 EF 2323. All right, so I think we need to move this jumper to 2323. Oh, it's tight in there. There we go. All right, that should disable the printer port. All right, COM A, COM B, we definitely want both of those enabled. I'm gonna leave JP1 alone, like I was saying, because that's the, and JP2, because I definitely want both of those enabled, and like I said, the default settings should be fine. Okay, so JP3, install the jumper shunt to enable the game port. Remove the shunt to disable the game port. Oh, okay, well that's easy. So there's JP3, shunt removed, and just leave it there, and that means that our game port should be disabled. The game port is enabled by default. That's great to know. All right, so we want COM A, which is this one, it looks like. And this is going to be also our mouse port. We want that to be on COM1. Yep, so that's default 3FH. COM2 is 2FH. So that's great. Floppy disk controller, primary base address 3F0, enabled by default. Okay, everything else should be fine. Parallel printer port, it's disabled, so we should be fine there. And then COM A, IRQ3, oh wait, hold on. Yeah, those should be fine, default. Let's see here. So it's got a bunch of, actually it's got a some pretty handy troubleshooting steps here also. Theoretically, I should be able to just put this in and the BIOS should see the drives. Somehow, I guess. I don't know, I've never used one of these before. Seems like these want to go in VLB first. Man, it has been a long time. There we go. Give it a little wiggle. And that appears to be in. Now, something I just realized about putting it way down here is I'm gonna have to run wires from here all the way up to here if I want to use any of these. I would like to use those, even if it's just this guy. I mean, optionally, I can just put it right there, and that's fine too. Man, new old stock. Huh. Has an odd smell to it. All right. In case anybody's wondering what this is a cross wrench for an RC car. Happens to be the right size. Keep that safe. Of course, we have all new IDE and floppy connectors. I'm not sure if I'll use those or not. That is one old rubber band. It's basically tar. Crazy. This guy's going way up top because that's where the serial port is, which is annoying because it's really hard to get screws in here. I recognize this is away from the camera, but I don't want to move it around yet. My serial mouse is going to plug in down here, and I have another serial device that'll plug into this 25 pin up there. And I'm not going to print anything like ever, most likely. But if I do, there is a printer port here, and I can enable it if I need to. And if for some reason I want to use the game port, then I can adjust it and do that too. So the next step really is to clean up the floppy drives, which I think deserves its own video. So I think we're gonna stop part 2 of this build right here. So once again, thank you very much for watching. I hope this was entertaining and maybe even educational while I fumble my way through this. But if you like it, please hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. I'm gonna try and release a video at least once a month. And then if I can, I might do one every other week until I run out of things to do. So we'll just keep going along here. Yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in part 3.